it has become much more efficient. We can get a larger crowd to participate in the discussion, to participate in these meetings and give their suggestions, and they feel as a part of it that, okay, this is what I have contributed. If my insurance policy is like this, I'm the one who has designed it or who has helped to design it. So that's how it helps more, I would say, in the people who are already working within the organization. But yes, we are working in terms of how can we reach more to our prospective employees.
Great. Tarun, coming back to you, an interesting, your story that you shared with your journey from, data to gut feeling to evolution to your conversation with CIO. If you could share with our panelists, what were the typical compliance-related enablers or deterrents that you came across in your journey from, moving from gut feeling to data, or compliance-related enablers or deterrents, that you would have come across? I think the participants would.
Uh, can you repeat?
Yeah, so in your journey, when you were compliance, whether it's data security, whether it is workplace security, what was those enablers or deterrents that you came across as you moved across the journey,
Yes.
From moving to level 1 to level 2?
So as far as compliance is concerned, so far we have not put any of sensitive data on any of the platforms other than we have, SAP as a HRMS platform available for us. However, one of my experience that I'll share with you, uh, see, there are some subjects in HR which used to be very, very, hidden. For example, as you mentioned, compliance, so statutory compliances. This was one subject which was always, which had one letter only which you will sign, and that letter, if CHRO is signing, then all the company is safe. I mean, that used to be the scenario earlier. So what we created there, this was in my previous organization, which was one of the retail organizations. So what we did there was, because retail is very complex in terms of compliances. So you have retail stores all over the states, and all states have their own labor laws, and you come across all category of employees. You have managers, you have supervisors, you have workmen, you have contract laborers, you have Mathadi union, whatnot. Everything is there. So what we did was and so the management's expectations was that apart from signing this, because the exposure is too high, because you are going to operate in different places, and the employer that way was, by the way, the best employer. So they were very, very conscious in terms of that how do we make sure that there is least exposure and everything is transparent. So the question was that everything has to be transparent. So then what we did was we created the entire law statements which were to be complied with on a tracker, which was on the front end. It was very simple to understand, because it was just giving you some numbers that, okay, these many compliances done, and if you click on a particular icon, then you can go into the details or background, whatever you want to see. Everything is available in a very transparent way, state-wise, country-wise, and it was available on the CEO's desktop actually, because there was a precedence of very.
So any of the risks that you came across, which you negated when you were going through that the whole data mining piece, or it was kind of all kosher and fine?
See, risks was that, sometimes it was pointed out that when you're trying to create such kind of platforms, my experience is that you should be working very closely with your IT team. Yeah. And with your internal audit or corporate governance team, because there are many subjects which sometimes you are not aware of. They can backfire. So that way, one has to be very.
Before we open up for questions, one last thing that I wanted to talk and throw it open to all three of you. As we look at the future, and we've talked about social media, we've talked about analytics. The next big thing that everyone's talking about is bring your own device to workplace. And that is clearly linked with both our analytics and the social media journey that all companies want to embark upon, right? Because you have young people who only want to work on a Mac, and because they think that that's what gives them a delight, or that's what makes them more efficient. So I just wanted to open it up for you guys to say if you have such policies, and what is your organization's view on that as we look at more futuristic perspective. Anyone who'd want to take a.
So as far as policy standpoint is concerned, we do not have any restrictions. You can bring your own machine for work, except that there are some IT security compliances which you have to get in touch with the IT team and get those installed in your system. But from machine perspective, we do not have any restrictions.
Excellent.
Sure. So I think, Amit, from a data perspective and from a data sensitivity standpoint, I think we are quite particular in this area. So as of now, we have not reached that stage where we can allow our professionals to use their own device. We provide them the latest device that they would probably look for. So if they want to work on a Mac, yes, we do give to our people Mac. Not to all, but yes, we do give it to our people. We give the latest of the PDA devices to our people. All those facilities and all of these IT policies are, kind of reviewed every 6 months or every 3 months or, that period of time. And we have a dedicated team which works out of the US in terms of to work that what is the best for our people, which can make them stay connected 24/7, 365. So we work on that policy, but probably I look forward that we get some time or a day when, we ask our people to get their own device as they want.
Why I asked this because if you look at the smartphones today, so a lot of us have mails and stuff, and smartphones already a part of our life. So it's just like Tarun said.
When I said use your own device, so for example, what we have done recently is for our sales team, in 2 of our circles, so we have created their groups on WhatsApp. So anything which is related to new product or anything to do with retail, some support required, etc. So that WhatsApp application is then backtracked to the corporate team, and there are spokes available. So whatever work hampering actions are required. So I believe it has been a success so far, and we have not encountered any such.
Okay, so I think we've kind of covered the journey. We've heard each one of you share about your own perspective. We've talked about, you talked about manufacturing from analytics and how you use social media. We've heard Tarun talk about his own journey, risks that he encountered, and Bindu give us a fabulous case that example about how sales and internal was integrated. We could actually go on and on from a discussion, but I think I promised the participants that we'd give them 15 minutes to ask questions and to keep in time. So we have next 15 minutes. I'll open the house up for questions. Request you to please state your name and ask a question. If you have a question directed to any one of the panelists here, you could mention that, or if it's an open question, I'll just let any of the panelists grab it and talk about it. Yeah. Can I just have some mics there, please?
Thank you. Yeah, hi. My name is Tanuj Taneja, and I work for Spire Technologies. We're into big data analytics, but one of the few things that is keeps coming up in the media on LinkedIn, there are a lot of articles on LinkedIn, a lot of professionals, HR professionals around from US, Europe, India, are talking about contextual intelligence. I know, Tarun, you talked about structured and unstructured data coming from an HR person. I think that's fantastic. HR people, I've done both technology and HR, so trying to teach technology to an HR person is, it takes a long time, but of course structured and unstructured data is phenomenal, and especially in the big data space. But what are your organizations doing about contextual intelligence? Because that's a new paradigm shift that's coming in HR, it's coming in HRMS, whether it's a SAP or an ATO solution or a hiring Talio solution. Have you guys heard of contextual intelligence? Or if you have you organizations, your IT teams within your organizations started looking at that? And if yes, can you share some examples? And if not, then
Then it's a learning for all of us.
Yeah, I guess
so. I'll throw it open.
No.
Any one of you? No?
In some way, we were looking at Yammer. He spoke about Yammer. So we did a pilot with Yammer to understand how does information pass in the organization. So that was the project that we had embarked on with Yammer. And we said that what kind of information gets passed down the fastest, and what kind of information takes a longer time, and what are the channels, what do they speak about? So in that aspect, we ran this project for 90 days and looked at, because that was the time when we were launching a lot of our new interventions. So when that happened, we got a good sense of what are the 4 or 5 things that people want to talk about or got excited about. And surprisingly, the one which came out top on the list was the way we recognize our people. And we then got a social media platform for recognizing our people, where they said that pat on the back or once in a year ceremonies where you just call people up on the stage is not enough. And a lot of messages that were going across, information, was about what a great project you worked on or how good that was. So in some aspect, we actually looked at that data, analyzed it, and it led to a solution which was a social recognition platform, rather than saying that the managers will nominate people and then recognize them once in a year or once in 6 months. So in that way, we looked at it. In our domain university, we are now looking at a Wikipedia kind of thing, to say that what kind of information do people pass on to each other. It's a continuation of that same project, because even learning gets passed on. So these are the two examples I can think of, which has happened in the recent past. So that's why I could share that with you. Yeah.
So we move on to the next one.
Hi, I'm Umesh Agrawal from Secure Meters. I have a question to Gautam Pandey. You talk about that people engagement and utilization study by the HR, right? Basically, it is the responsibility of the project manager to ensure that people are being utilized and engaged in the project. So how the process you follow, so it being not defending to this program manager or project manager, and the studies being done by HR and decisions are being taken.
Okay. So thanks for this question. See, I think it is a business prerogative how you look at it. I'm not saying that it is the job of a talent person, right? It can be a part of the project. For us, it was a part of business earlier. The business team, they had a dedicated resource manager. Now it is a part of talent. Why I took an example more from a data and analytics standpoint, that how important it is to analyze the utilization data and plan for future. How to deploy, how to engage, and how to work on those engagements where you can have the maximum utilization of your resources. So it was nothing to say whether it is a part of talent or it is a part of business. It can sit anywhere. But what I'm trying to emphasize the point here is more in terms of the usage of analytics in utilization. Does that help?
Okay, can you give me some brief on how the process you follow in collecting the data of utilization of the people in the
So
project?
we have certain tools where we use in-house, and the utilization is tracked through those tools for our professionals. So there are certain tools which are our own proprietary.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in fact, I have my colleague Anjali there. She can explain you better on this, on the same table.
Hello. Hello. This question is for Bindu ma'am. Since she has already spoken about L&D, just one thing, like it happens that business head asks that Mr. Janmajay, if you have spent in this quarter, say 60 lakhs towards L&D, so what is the ROI? Like now we are working on big data. So we have already, like Mr. Gautam has pointed out that resource utilization that we are working on, like dedicated staff is there, every hour she is on the job or the team is on the job. So like that also we have started working on these things, like sustainability metrics that we are working. It's not only related to environment or environment protection laws and our compliances. So beside that, like every vertical is preparing data, whether it is production or supply chain management, HR, finance, everyone is preparing data. So now this has also come that what is the ROI? So like in big data, how we are going to relate? So what are the metrics like, or what are best practices? Like you have already spoken about problem consulting. So this is an area like we are also preparing ourselves. So we'll be very selective, and what we can just gain after just giving those opportunities for learning and development to selected people, identifying their potential and commitment, retention strategy. So just madam, if you can just
Sure.
briefly describe.
Sure. So let's solve world hunger. How